Anyone else up there?
I was wondering if you all saw the remake of Karate Kid and what you thought of it.
They did a remake? When?
Do you know about this?
No, I'm still waiting to find.
Who's in it? That's my answer.
Good answer.
No. Wait, Marty, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, they were carrying on about,
They did a remake?
hey, everybody was up in arms. They did the remake, and we all went to the premiere, and we had a nice time and all. But I mean, you just see all these people from Japan doing your lines with, subtitles on the bottom, and however they said "sweep the leg" or "no mercy" and all. That was kind of interesting. I mean, but I think the acting, I actually liked watching, I told this to Will Smith, that I liked watching that one scene between Jackie Chan. I thought Jackie Chan did a good job, because Jackie Chan is always cute and funny, and this he was very serious and vulnerable. So I thought he did a good job. And that one scene where they banging the car with a hammer, they were very vulnerable, and I told this to Will, and I kind of forgot as I was watching that I was watching a remake of a movie I had done, because I enjoyed what the characters were doing. But it never paid, it never was in competition with our movie. I got on the radio a lot of times and talked about it. It paid homage to Karate Kid 1. I mean, that kid in that movie never could shine his, boots. I mean, and certainly certainly the sensei was just strange little ugly guy.
Will Smith said, he did say that. He's like, it was just to be an homage, no disrespect meant. We just want to pay tribute. And I said, I have no problem at all. I said, I'm actually doing the same thing with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air right now. I told him that. I said, it's called Fresh Prince of Studio City, starring me, and it's just a homage to your show. He's like, but
Yeah, my thoughts were pretty much along the lines of Marty. It was more, it can't be a competition because we've already won it, we've already done it. So it's just another version, another interpretation, and you just hope that they don't screw it up. And I don't think they screwed it up. I think it was different. I think it was done well for what they were going for.
Yeah. It's good for a new generation of kids. I mean, I don't know where I was at some party. I was at a Make-A-Wish Foundation, and there was a kid there who was like the kid for the Make-A-Wish, and I asked him if he saw the Karate Kid, and he said, yeah. I go, do you remember me? He goes, no. He's like, Jaden Smith, who were you? I'm like, the kid's 10 years old, so like there's a whole new generation of kids that are the Justin Bieber kids, and that's good, and it's like the story is a kid and a mentor. You can't go wrong with that, Is it going to be the Karate Kid? No, because it's got like Pat Morita was the soul of the Karate Kid. He was the Miyagi that wraps that whole movie up, and we all play in that. So, and he was just chosen from the stars to be that character, I think, and him and his relationship with Daniel and Ralph was so real and authentic. Plus, then you have like the DNA of the '80s, the music. John Avildsen, who's the Academy Award nomination, winner, and Bill Conti did the music. It was just a special, rare thing, and it wasn't meant to be a blockbuster. It was meant just to be a film from the heart, and all the other ones were trying to top that, including the remake. It's like, okay, so I don't know. I think ours had a purity to it and a timelessness about it. I don't know if this one does. We'll see in 20 years if we'll see.
It's very interesting how they did do their research, because after they came up, to us and had these little bit of idiosyncrasies that they knew about the characters that you would never think anybody would research. But even the inner motivation of what I did with John Kreese, my backstory that's never mentioned in the movies that I just did as an actor, they knew. And I don't remember if I even talked about it in commentaries or made anybody aware of it. But they knew all this stuff that I worked on and created for my inner life that I created for me as the actor. And so they really researched everything. And, I was amazed, just truly amazed, But, I think the the acting was good, which is what I really enjoyed. That, I've never seen Jackie Chan be so vulnerable. He's always, slick and action-oriented, and this character was good stuff.
Yeah, I thought one of the good things about it, is that inadvertently it actually shone light on the first one.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Because there are a lot of folks who were just wanted to know where it came from, because like you were saying, the new generation thinks it's new.
Right.
And I even had to tell my son, I was like, no, your dad was in the first one. He's like, really? You know what, never mind. So then he wanted to see the first one, and then he saw it, and he was like, wow. He liked them both. And I think that's a compliment to the first one, especially because somebody younger. It's easy to just like the new stuff.
It's also a new generation, like with the video games and like the internet. I mean, there's no internet or anything like that, but the kids' brains are trained to think so much faster. So like our movie looks like, I mean, we had a screening at the ArcLight. I wish you were there. We had one in Hollywood. You were there. But it played on the big screen, and it just felt like, I mean, it held the screen. It was beautiful to watch. It was really slow paced compared to like the movies that we see today. Look at the new Karate Kid. It's like, you know, the cameras moving. Like our fights in the tournament was just real. It was like lock off cameras and maybe a dolly or a move or a pan. But like this one is like, the camera's in the action and it's jerky and they're like pan and scanning in there and stuff. So it's like, you know, it's good for the new generation. It's speaking to their minds, you know, and hopefully it teaches them a good lesson that you should move and kick somebody's.
And Billy just said something that in case you guys don't know, whenever you're watching a fight scene, you can really tell when folks are fighting because there's not a lot of cutting. And in the Karate Kid, they actually just pull the camera back, and it's actually a testament to your training. When the camera comes back, you can't fake it because there's nothing to hide. It's just all what it is. When you see a bunch of quick cuts, that's a nice way of helping a fighter or an actor through a fight. Yeah, we all know that. You guys may not know it may look cool and all, but we're going, dang, I can't fight. I can't fight. Because all you show is, oh! Or so you hear everybody, oh, and you never see anything thrown, and you're like, wow, interesting. You know, but it really is a testament to fights, like when you look at the Bruce Lees and you look at those other fights, you just actually saw the entire fight. You saw the guys go at it. And that's when, you know, those guys were actually doing it. There was no stunting there.
I want to know, Billy, if you, in any of the fight scenes with Ralph Macchio, if there was any accidental or contact. Did you ever kick Ralph's ass, you know? Tell us the real story.
Not in the tournament. We had one accident, and that was at the skeleton fence fight scene. And we shot that, I think, for something like 2 weeks, I think. Over and over, we kept trying to go back and get it right. And, you know, it's a hardcore scene. It was night. The night shoot started at 11, go to 4 in the morning, so we were getting tired and stuff. And it's the scene, he's up against the fence, and I do a round kick to his face. You know, it's like I jump back and hit him in the face. And there's a rule, in you know, you cross the line to get a hit in fighting. So the camera was behind him. So the camera was on the side of him. So my foot had to stop on the side of his cheek to make it look like a hit. So I would stop it right here. Then they moved the camera behind him. The new line is here. So, but I never adjusted my left foot to come back so I wouldn't go through. So my left foot was still there, and so all of a sudden one night, bam! I hit him so hard he dropped, and John Ellison goes, perfect! Yeah, it's great. But it was serious, man. He was really hurting, and I felt so bad. In fact, there's some scenes in the movie where he's got a cut on his lip, and it just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's not even in continuity, and they covered it up, made it look like one of those other things. The only time I hit Ralph, and I did tell you, it was the worst feeling ever, because you're really putting so much trust in the other guy. I mean, we're getting really close, and you know, it was horrible. I mean, I felt so bad, you know. But if I had to do it again, I would, though. You know who hit me the most in that movie was Elizabeth Shue, you know, the diner scene. The only person, except for the guy that does the spinning butterfly kicks, the last guy in the, you know, the first kick in the tournament, I'm like, go ahead, hit me, I'm an athlete. He goes, okay. And that guy was wicked. He was the real guy that did the crane kick. He had put him in an outfit, he did like all the doubles on the pylon and stuff. Anyway, he does a spinning heel kick in my solar plexus and just about knocked the wind out of me. I was like, oh, I had a bruise the whole rest of the tournament. But Elizabeth Shue, every time in that thing, you know, she just punches me in the nose, I hate you, Johnny, or whatever, bam. She, every single time, she could not pull a punch. She just, man, I just, bam, I'm like, you have one punch in the whole movie, you can't pull it, you know. I mean, she hit me every time. She goes, I'm sorry. I was like, you're not sorry. But that was it, really. It was pretty amazing that nobody got hurt on that, to be honest. I think Larry B. Scott got her a little bit though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was my interesting story for me for Karate Kid. That was kind of the beginning of my run in the 80s, and I can remember they wanted me to come back and do some reshoots, and I remember Chad McQueen and Ralph, because I was with the Cobra Kai, and we actually did work out. How was it, like 6 weeks?
Yeah.
We trained. 6 weeks. It was basically like being in a dojo for 6 weeks, and towards the end of it, I had booked a small film called Revenge of the Nerds, and they were all giving me caca about, oh my God, you're gonna be gay, you're gonna be a nerd, you're gonna be like, it's like, well, I hope it works out, I don't know, we'll see. And you just never know at the time, but we really did bond. It was really kind of cool, and John Avildsen, it's kind of an old school director. You were talking about directors from the front. This guy right here, at the time, he's cool now, but trust me, he was creeps on the set all day, every day. And so that was like, hi.
Yeah, he was in character. We were introduced to him in character. Even Pat Johnson says in his commentary, the first time we met him, he was standing with a gi and a black belt in a dojo. Like, we didn't meet Marty Cove, we met Sensei Kreese right from the go. Just by design.
Yeah, he never broke character. That was great for us.
And we were only 10 or 11, so it was very scary.
Yeah, and that's what the brilliance of, as you said before with Pat, he never introduced us until time to really shoot. Everybody trained separately, and he was very responsible for Kreese's attitudes. His ki I even used. He used the ice, and I used his ki, and when he would stand like this with his hands in his belt, I took that, and then he always said stand like this, so you always have your right hand free to hit somebody like that. And I did that too. And he doesn't let us he doesn't take any credit, but he really created so much of the mystique of each individual entity, whether the Cobra Kai or Ralph or the confidence of Miyagi or the mysticism of Miyagi, and certainly the darkness of John Kreese. Yeah, and he was a lovely guy. He trained Steve McQueen. Pat Johnson did Batman, and he often talked about Batman as a cheat. He says even when he did Batman, they would shoot, I think it was George Clooney or whoever, they would shoot your waist up or do the close-ups, and it was all a cheat because you'd never see full body contact because there wasn't any, because actors couldn't do it. Where unlike, these guys and these characters here in the Karate Kid 1, everybody really had to learn the real thing. And that's why I think the picture holds up, because everything is very real, from the script to the action sequences. It's all, you're right there. And I think that constitutes being able to watch a movie over and over again like The Godfather. You're right there every time, and it means something new to you every time you see the movie. So that's why it's such a universal success.